Many FP&A teams spend hours on useless variance analysis that doesn't move the needle. I know this because I've trained over 1,000 finance professionals at companies like Google, Merck, and Lowe's, and I see the same pattern everywhere. Teams identify what changed, maybe dig into the why, but they stop right before the part that actually matters, which is telling leadership what to do about it. So in this video, I'll walk you through my 3-step framework for building variance analysis that leads to real business decisions instead of just filling out reports nobody reads. Let's get into it. Step 1. The what. The what is about identifying and quantifying the variance. It's a difference between actual results and expectations. For example, professional fees are unfavorable by $251,000. That's the what. You need to be clear and specific here. You don't just say costs increased. You need to be as specific as possible for the information to be useful for decision making. This is pretty straightforward, but it's critical because everything else builds on this. Before I continue, if you want a one-pager that summarizes this entire framework that I'm about to show you, so you can reference it at work and impress your team with your analysis skills, just click the first link in the description to get it for free after watching this video. Step 2. The why. Once you've identified the variance, you need to figure out why it happened. The why looks into the factors and drivers that contributed to deviation. But here's something important. You don't always have to reconcile 100% of the variance. You don't need to explain everything. In my example, the total professional fees were $251,000 over budget. When I dug into it, I found that Deloitte alone was the main driver behind this, and they alone were $267,000 unfavorable. Now, how does that math work? If Deloitte is $267,000 over, but the total is only $251,000 over, it means something else came in under budget by about $16,000. Maybe we spent less on legal fees or another vendor was cheaper than expected. But here's the thing. I'm not going to waste my time tracking down that $16,000. The real problem is Deloitte being way over budget. That's what I need to focus on. This is the 80-20 rule in action. I focus on the 20% of drivers that cause 80% of the variance. Deloitte at $267,000 is clearly the main issue here, but we're not done yet. Unfortunately, many FP&A teams stop here, and that's a mistake. Step 3, the so what. This is the most important part. Without the so what, you're not impacting business performance. Continuing our example, the so what could be we did further analysis and discovered the cost increase isn't due to more billable hours, but rather Deloitte increased their price. We should compare the new price to other audit firms and consider getting quotes from competitors. Notice the concrete next step. That's what makes this actionable. Because if you just submitted professional fees are up because of Deloitte, leadership can't do anything with that. They don't know if that's really an issue or if it's just that the company became more complex and the audit took longer than expected because of that. But when you say they raised prices and here's what we should do about it, now you're driving real business decisions. Having said that, I know the so what can be tricky to identify. You're sitting there with your variance data thinking, okay, but what does this actually mean and what should we do? That's exactly what I developed my Arctic framework for. Let me walk you through each component. A stands for actions. Which actions does the variance suggest? What should the company do as a next step? In my Deloitte example, the action was compare their new price to other audit firms and consider a tender process. R stands for risks and opportunities. Does the variance indicate a significant risk or opportunity? You determine whether this variance is something that could hurt the business or if it's highlighting an opportunity you should double down on. C stands for cause. This is where you dig for the root cause. What's actually driving this variance? It might mean asking why questions to budget owners repeatedly to understand the context, develop hypotheses you can test. People often ask me, how do you know when you've dug deep enough? Here's what I do. If the root cause you found suggests 1 or 2 possible actions, you've probably found the real root cause. If there are 100 things the company could do based on what you haven't dug deep enough yet. In our example, we kept digging until we found out that Deloitte didn't build more hours, they just raised their prices. That's a root cause that gets us to a clear action. T stands for timing or real. Here we need to ask, is this just a shift from one period to another, or does it have a real impact on achieving our revenue or profit targets? In my earlier example, maybe Deloitte was supposed to bill everything in March, but there was a delay. They billed the current audit, plus they forgot to bill something from the previous quarter. That would be a timing issue, not a real increase in annual costs. Timing issues usually aren't a big deal. If it's real, that might be a problem. I stands for impact. How does the variance impact the forecast for the remainder of the year? If it's real, how much should we adjust the forecast? And are there ways to soften the blow if this is unfavorable? For example, maybe your finance team built in some extra cushion in the forecast for unexpected things like this. You could use some of that cushion instead of showing the full hit to the forecast. C stands for control. Is this risk or opportunity inside or outside our control? If something was completely outside our control, it's probably not worth spending much time on. But if we could have avoided it or can learn from it to act differently in the future, that needs deeper investigation. So let's talk about how to make variance analysis work in your organization. Here's something that will make your life a lot easier. Once you've mastered this framework yourself, establish it as a standard across your organization. What I mean is get everyone using the what, why, so what structure we just covered. Every variance should follow the same format. Identify the variance, explain the root cause using the 80-20 approach, and recommend specific actions using the Arctic framework. This way, when leaders are reading through reports from different departments, consistency makes it easier for them to digest the information quickly. They don't have to relearn how to read each report. They see a variance, they immediately know where to look for the why and where to find the recommended actions. It saves everyone time and makes your analysis more likely to actually get read and acted on. Now, again, I put together a one-pager with everything from this video, so you can just keep it at your desk, and next time when you're doing variance analysis, you'll know exactly what to do, so your analysis actually leads to decisions instead of just sitting in someone's inbox. Click the first link below to download it for free. If you want to learn how to build perfect financial models in Excel using AI, then watch this video next.